In the heart of art and a stage they found a bond that blooms so strong, profound. Taylor's tales and Mary's song, together they've made a place they belong.
Hey everyone, welcome to TRS. We are live.
To notes they share in laughter's light and moments rare. Taylor's words with Mary's voice, in friendship's dance they both rejoice. Creating dreams side by side, through highs and lows a trusted guide. In every road, in every part, they weave their magic heart to heart. Spirits high, they chase their dreams, they touch the sky. For in their bond they find their way, as friends and artists come one day. Welcome to TRS friends.
Welcome to TRS, everybody.
You caught me mid-dance.
Oh,
I was jamming.
Good catch. You are a witness to our very longest intro ever. Thank you for joining us. We are here today with writer-director Taylor Coriell and one of her very, very best friends, Mary McNulty, a stage actor with a very impressive resume. But why are we here? A few weeks ago, Taylor posted that she is moving from New York City to LA and that she was really going to miss a lot of things, including one of the most important people in her life that she met after her move to New York City, Mary. I thought, hey, I'm a relationship host. And these two people, both in showbiz, on very different paths. This is going to be an interesting discussion, and I can't wait. So let's kick it off. I'll stop reading my script here. Taylor, where are you from originally, and who were you before you moved to New York City?
Oh, boy. Ooh. I used to be a dinosaur, so things have really changed. I'm sorry. I'm already being weird. You're asking Taylor questions.
That's okay.
This is going to be amazing.
Well, I'm originally from Kentucky, and I moved to New York 12 years ago to do musical theater. And I'd studied opera and classical music in college, and I was always a theater kid, pretty much. I did my first musical when I was 10, and, like I said, that's why I moved to New York. And then somewhere in there, I started writing and directing and producing my own work, and I was doing them both kind of at the same time for a while, and then the pandemic hit and it kind of just became writing and directing, and so that's how I ended up now in LA.
That's the theme of our show, what the pandemic changed, because this show exists because of it. I have to ask this question because every interviewer does it. What was your first play, and what was the line you still remember from it?
My first musical was Hello, Dolly. I was a Towns kid at the local high school where I ended up going to college, where I went to high school. And what was my favorite line? I think I just was so enamored with the whole process. But I have a very distinct memory of walking in my huge Towns kid bow across the front of the stage for Put On Your Sunday clothes. Mary, have you ever done that show?
Awesome.
I've
never done that show.
Oh, you'd be wild. You'd be such a good Irene Malloy.
Well, tell someone who's doing the show.
Nobody does that show anymore.
Mary, I have the same question for you. Who were you before New York City?
Oh, I was just a strange little girl from St. Louis, Missouri. No, I was born and raised in St. Louis. I went to college in Kansas, University of Kansas School of Music. And strangely enough, I also studied classical voice and opera, which is a hilarious coincidence. But then after college, I never really did I never went down the opera path. I actually ended up, my first out of college show was A Midsummer Night's Dream. And they wrote a bunch of music for me. I was doubling Titania Hippolyta, and as Hippolyta, they wrote a bunch of music for me, which was incredible. So I guess I still got to use that skill set right out of college. But yeah, and so because of the whole Shakespeare experience, I never really went back to auditioning for opera. I just kind of kept doing musical theater, plays, all that kind of stuff. And then I moved to New York in officially, I think it must have been what would it have been, 2012, I think? I don't know. What year is it? Who am I?
It depended
What's
on when you first
happening?
booked your. When did
You know
you
what?
book your first Gretna show?
Oh,
Because we
so
did
it
our.
must have been
It was the year before.
2012.
Yeah.
It must have been 2012 because I moved into this apartment I'm in New York right now. I moved into this apartment in 2014. So it must have been 2012 when I moved to New York.
Yeah.
Because I started
That's when I moved.
Camelot. Yeah. Yeah. So it would have been 2012. That's so weird. It had to have
No, you
been.
started Camelot after we did Watson.
Yeah, but it was
Yep.
2014, 15. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It was after because
So
we worked
Watson was
together in 2013.
2013.
Sorry for the
Let's go
Jenga.
with
Okay, never
the-
mind. We'll get there. I'm so sorry.
Let's go with, after 2010. Somewhere. Let's squish
Perfect.
it in that area.
Perfect.
What band? What you can always go by? What music were you listening to the day you got there, perhaps? But music is my reminder of periods of time. Like I listened to that song on that bus. What I want to know is how did you two end up meeting? We're gonna skip forward. How did you meet? How long were you both in town? And you could both talk over each other or figure out who has the best answer.
Well, what year was it? Was it
2013? It was 2013 because I had moved in 2012, and then I booked my first job, my first tour, like 3 months after I got there, and then I was gone, and then and then the next summer I booked stock at Gretna, and that's where we met each other. We met doing a Sherlock Holmes play, which was a delight. Mary played Irene Adler, and I played Mary Watson's wife. Written by the genius Jamie Robledo, who's a playwright here in LA, who we have now, obviously in the 12 years since we did that play, we've met him.
But you just saw him like yesterday, right?
Yeah, he has a theater here, Sacred Fools, and they do part of the Hollywood Fringe. So I met up with him, and I actually got to meet the original Irene Adler and Mary Watson from the first
awesome.
ever, which was really fun. I had wished Mary was here, but she'll be out
here.
Well,
I will be in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so we'll all hang out then, but it was cool.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So before we go further, we got people hooked. They're now interested. I want to make sure that we get some plugs in early. We'll bring it back later. Mary, you were touring with the national production of Clue. Do you want to tell us about it and what you're doing with them?
Yeah. So I'm currently on it's the first national tour of Clue. They call it Clue, a New Comedy, by the beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful, smart, intelligent playwright Sandy. We love her. As I'm saying this, I'm like, am I going to mispronounce her name on a Twitch show? Because that would be bad. Sandy Reston. She's amazing.
That's my life. That's my life.
We love her. It's like my biggest fear. This is what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm going to mispronounce my own name on a Twitch show somewhere where it can be replayed, and then I'll be like, cool, I did that.
It's there forever.
That's pretty. It's part for me, very, very par for the course. But anyway, so Clue, it is a 90-minute insane like romp through Body Manor. You get all of your main suspects that you get from like the movie as well as the game. So you've got like Mrs. White, Colonel Mustard, Mrs. Peacock, everybody who shows up to Body Manor, and murder ensues.
As it should.
It's delightful. It's like
murder ensues.
Murder ensues. It's like I've never done a play like this where everybody is it's 90 minutes of hyper focus and listening intently, because once the train leaves the station, it does not stop. It just keeps getting faster and faster, funnier, zanier, as the stakes and the circumstances get even more insane. But what I do in Clue is I am the swing for all of the female presenting tracks. So I know the show 5 times over, and have to be ready to go on for anyone at any time.
She's a genius.
Sometimes during the show, somebody's like, they can't do something. They have to leave halfway through the show, and you're just tapped.
Happened to me yet, but that's absolutely a possibility.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah. Which is wild. And it would be crazy. They would literally have to stop the show though, because people just don't leave the stage in this one at all. I guess unless they get murdered, but I don't want to give, just in case people don't
Nobody.
know, I don't want to like give away
Spoiler.
what happens. But
Well, I
it
have
is
somebody who loves to ask spoilers. Before we get on to Taylor, Zaz, did you have a question about Clue?
That was kind of the
As a
thing.
fan.
Was massive, and rest in peace, Smart Mall. The dialogue, I love that you mentioned that the dialogue is like it keeps that breakneck like speed, like it's so witty and engaging, and it doesn't stop for a moment. So I don't know how that would be live. I mean, with acting on, I would imagine in Hollywood you have a lot of takes. You could redo takes. You could take a break. I imagine on stage you're just like breakneck speed. A lot of pixie sticks go down that day to make that happen. So I wanted to know, like, is that still the same, vibe for this new, for the show?
Yeah, I mean, you get all of you're getting a lot of the classic lines from the movie, the Paramount movie. So you get like your flames on the sides of my face. You get like a lot of the classic. What's the other one that people always love?
Singing telegram. I am. Your singing.
Yeah, you get your singing
Yeah.
telegram girl. You get the he had threatened to kill me in public. Why would he want to kill you in public? You get like all of those,
Right, nice.
those like little classic cult favorite lines, which is great. But I will also say that even though a lot of the dialogue is from the movie, a lot of it is brand new to this show. And I think it's also important to note, a lot of it's brand new to the show. And then the other thing I just want to throw in there is that, like, although we all love the movie, no one is by any means doing an impression of any of the fabulous actors in the movie. Everyone's really made these roles their own, and
nice.
It's highly entertaining to watch.
Fantastic. No, it's great. Yeah, because again, and if anybody who's seen the movie, and if you haven't also see that as well, there's like, well, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. It's I mean, but it is like 30 years old, so I don't know. Anyway,
someone's seen the movie at this point, but if they have, we actually get a lot of people who haven't seen it, and come in just totally blind, not knowing what to expect. And they leave and they're just like, oh my gosh, that was hilarious. Or you get the people that will come in full costume, and like with a group. So they've got like their own group of people. Yes, people.
That's awesome.
In costume. They like Rocky Horror.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's a blast.
I guess they figured it's related to Tim Curry in some way. They have to throw a toast at this.
That was going to be the thing. Was like,
exactly.
Was it because of Curry? Yeah. Excellent.
Hey, Taylor, you're mid-move right now. You are between coasts. You're dealing with all that. But what I'm going to find out what you're going to be doing, what you plan on doing. You're the Pest. Is amazing. I wanted anybody who didn't know what I was talking about. I just wanted to see how they would react to that sentence. Are you going to do more of that? First off, can you tell us about how that came about? And are you going to do more?
Sure. Yeah. So
do I get you with that?
Yeah, so You're the Pest is something. So like I said, I moved to New York to do musical theater, and I had started taking sketch and improv. And one of my really good friends, Jasmine Romero, and we had met in an acting class, and we just knew it was around the time where everybody was talking about making your own work. And so at the time I was going in for a lot of like young mom roles, or like Christina Hendricks was so big at the time, like because of Mad Men. And so every time I went into audition, people wanted me to be like sexy. Yeah, they wanted me. Sure. Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Firefly. Yes.
Oh my God, here we go. Don't get her started. Wait, let me finish, and then you guys can talk about Firefly.
You finish.
Honestly, just go ahead. Just go ahead and talk about Firefly.
No, talk about You're the Pest.
No.
I
So me and my
loved
friend Jasmine, we had originally kind of just come up with the idea because, she was going in for a lot of roles. She's Latina, and she was like, every time I go in for an audition, everybody says, can you do it again? But like Sofia Vergara, and for me, everybody really I look like I could bake your son an apple pie. So everybody was just like casting me as like a young mom or whatever. And so we were like, let's write this show. So we did. And Jasmine ended up kind of like leaving acting behind. And she's actually now a podcast producer. and she's doing really, really well. But at that point, I had sort of taken over the project because I knew that I wanted to try to roll up my sleeves and figure out how to produce it. So I had said, help me finish writing the season and I'll make sure it gets made. And so, yeah, I mean, from there, I mean, it's a really long story. I won't go into all the details, but, you know, it went through several rounds of crowdfunding. And, you know, we shot the pilot first, used that to raise more money. And then we shot the rest of the season at the end of 2017, finished post and released it week by week, like a regular TV show in 2018. And then I took it on the festival circuit, which was nice. And that was around the time I was doing a show in New York at the time, an Off-Broadway play. And so the year that we were festing, I was also performing 8 shows a week in Midtown. So yeah, it was a great experience. It was my first thing I've ever made. As far as
that's the reason I followed you on Instagram. I was impressed.
Oh, wow.
I was like, this is
you.
Good stuff. Like, I wanted to find out more, but I had to find a reason to talk to you because I can't just like, hey, let's talk. That's weird.
No, I'm glad. Listen, like, it's funny, you know, you make something and you look back at it after having done other stuff and you're always like, oh, I would change this. But to annoyingly quote Stephen Sondheim, he would say, you can't Photoshop your baby pictures. So I think I'm still pretty proud of it. And I'm still proud of the show. We probably will not make any more. It took so much time to raise the funds for that. And Audrey Ducassi, who's my co-star in that, we are both older, much older than we were when we shot that. And I feel like
you say that like you're 100 years old. Get out of here.
Yeah.
The fine lines are coming in, you guys. So,
well, I did like the concept. I liked that there was a gestalt. It wasn't just episodic jokes. It went somewhere. There was a story in there.
Thank you.
I don't know. There was thought behind it instead of, well, we could tell jokes. Anybody could do that, but you did more. And then you did Adulting with Jane.
Oh yeah, that was another one. What's that?
If you had more about You're the Pest, we could stay there too.
I was just gonna say, like, you know, we were in our late 20s when we were making that, and I think the overarching thing that we found with that, just because you mentioned it, was that as you approach 30, I just watched my friends realize, like, this dream that I had of what my life would look like at this point is either going exactly how I wanted to, or I've checked it off my bucket list, or I have no ability to continue doing it for whatever reason. Does that mean I failed? And what's the next chapter? And so that's where we kind of took You're the Pest, was these two girls who, in Marissa's case, the beauty queen, you know, she had achieved her goal really and wasn't really able to go past that. So like, what's her life now? And the same thing for Alex, who I played. You know, her dream was kind of dead. So like, what happens next? And who are the people you find in that chapter? So it was fun to write, and it was fun to make. I learned a lot. Big learning curve in that one. But yes, Adulting with Jane was a show that I've written for, and then I ended up co-directing an episode too for that one. And that was run by my friend Jenny Paul, who she actually was my line producer for You're the Pest. And then this was her show, which I was glad she invited me to work on. And then actually, I have another project that's my most current one that I've been working on called Ladylike. And that piece,
talk
Jenny,
about that one.
I was getting there.
Mary loves that one. That one, Jenny actually was my UPM for when we shot the proof of concept for that piece. So we have a nice little resume together. So yeah. But
awesome.
Adulting with Jane is a cool show because you can shop it, which I thought was a cool piece of technology.
Yeah, I like the concept. It wasn't for, I'm not a shopper, but I like the idea that it seemed like a responsible way to merge the two. Versus I've seen some really heavy-handed attempts. And it was, I don't know, I like the concept. So that was something I definitely want to touch on, because we're all technology aware here, and after our AI song, we need to keep up.
Well, and you can watch it on Amazon Prime too. So I think you can actually shop it on that or on the website. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool bit of technology.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think we're going to see more as it gets refined and we learn more about what people are wanting to do and how they want to
I think
interact
so.
in that way. It's going to be you're going to be at the forefront of it. You never know. You might be a trivia question. Who was the first person? Who are the people involved? I I did want to mention if anybody out there has questions, we take questions in chat. Zaz and Josh will find your question. If it's a good question, we'll throw it up on the screen, and we have one already.
Totally different things. That can't count.
Very
They're
different.
completely different.
Some would argue that, Mary. I don't know who, but some would.
I think your name was on that one.
I wish I had like a little whiteboard so I could keep like a little tally, but
You and me
this
both.
isn't my house.
And
so.
I think it's wrong that he gets the Star Trek reference in on this episode and not me. And that's just rude.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is amazing. And Josh, write that down. That's all I want to do for every show here on in. It's just like
Feed
it
him to
has
the
to be
Star Trek
a good one.
it's
We
never going
wanna
to be a
get-
good one. I think I've seen
Take it away
us Star
from
Trek.
Let's take it back to the
single.
past because we have a fun thing coming up here.
In the heart of art and stage they found a bond that boomed so strong, profound. Taylor's tales and Mary's song. Together they've made a place they belong.